Okay, I would like to start expressing my thanks to the organizing committee to invite me here to Tulln, where I'm enjoying pretty much this conference. I appreciate very much the chance to share with you my research on vegetable garden and how to involve community stakeholders in a science education program. First of all, let me start introducing myself. I'm going to use 3 different pictures to explain my relationship with garden. The first picture is to explain my background. I studied biology some years ago, but even though I am a biologist, I have worked in education all my life. My current job is at university. I work as teacher educator, but I used to work as environmental educator for local authorities and private companies. And I think here. And here my second picture, because while I was working as environmental educator, I was in charge of 16 schools in a rural area. My job lay in assess teachers to develop different kind of activities to work on different environmental issues. So one of the first things that I realized is that there was a vegetable garden within each of these 16 schools. So I thought that these vegetable gardens could be a good tool to promote the study of environment. Even though in that moment I didn't have the faintest idea how to do it, so I decided to go back at university, and I did a master's degree and then a PhD, and finally I did my dissertation about food gardens, and here you can see the front page of my dissertation. So I'm going to show you this small research that took place in a small village in a small school, where once upon a time, a group of teachers decided to open the doors of the school to invite neighbors and to invite families through the garden. I think it's important to explain you the geographical and the political context of this school, because this school is in Catalonia. I don't know if you are familiar with Catalonia, but Catalonia is a region in Spain. And we have our own culture, our own language. But most importantly for this presentation, we have our own educational laws. So this school was in a rural area, 60 kilometers north from Barcelona. Here, the red spot is Barcelona with these crazy buildings of Gaudí. And the blue spot is where this school was. And as far as education is concerned, vegetable gardens are becoming a popular educational tool in Catalan schools. For example, vegetable gardens are the 3rd environmental topic chosen in Catalan Green Schools program, just after waste management and biodiversity. And several city halls are promoting vegetable gardens in their kindergarten and elementary schools also. And a year ago was created a network of universities that are using vegetable gardens to teach their students. This network is called Red de Universidades Cultivadas, or Cultivated University Network. So in this exciting context, I think it's important to do more research about vegetable gardens and how to use this educational tool in the schools. In fact, in my first research group, the group Gresco, we were concerned about what we call a school agroecological approach. Because from our point of view, agroecology is the perfect mix of disciplines such as school science, social and political movements, and everyday knowledge. And these disciplines can interact together in different school spaces, such as a school kitchen, a school vegetable garden, or a school dining room. Our main goal was develop research to change our relationship with food, with the way that we produce, transform, and consume the food in the school. So our main goal was improving the school's food system. But you know that it's difficult to change anything in the school without the engagement of all the community stakeholders. I am not talking about just only students and teachers, but also I am talking about neighbors and families. Moreover, we have some studies that show how the involvement of different community stakeholders can have a good impact in the learning process. For example, if we focus on the parental engagement, we know that plays an important role in the students' educational outcomes and promote a better understanding between teachers and families also. Because they work together, so they can meet each other and they can do things together. But when we look at the activities that parents are doing in the schools when teachers invite them, some of the activities that they usually do are very passive. For example, sometimes parents are invited to build something in the school, or for example, to observe their kids, or to help them with the homework, or to organizing some kind of parties. But these kind of activities don't have a real effect in the school life. And I think that the problem is teachers don't see parents as a people who can act in the school. So with all of these things in mind, we did different meetings with parents, teachers of this school, and we decided to involve parents and neighbors with a more active perspective. So we decided, and here the picture I think that can explain more or less this thing. You can see these kids around a table with vegetables on the table and two adult people in this with them. This picture is to explain what we called shared activities, because these parents and these neighbors were invited in the school to share their knowledge and their time with the students. So shared activities were monthly activities with different actors from the community work together in cooperative group to develop a scientific explanation about an agroecological phenomenon. The shared activity was composed of 3 different workshops, 2 of them more related with science and experimentation, and 1 of them more related with gardening. So parents usually led the experimentation workshops, while neighbors led the gardening ones. And all the 60 students of the school were involved in these shared activities. In each shared activity, we repeat the same structure. We always, the teachers and I identified what we call the agroecological need. For example, we have to plant, it depends on the calendar. After that, we transform this agroecological need into a question, what is the best soil to plant in? And then developed 2 different workshops to work this investigation question. 1 more related with observation and 1 more related with experimental design. Finally, the kids had to make a decision about this agroecological need and to solve the problem of the garden. So these activities were designed by teachers and me, but were carried out by parents and neighbors. And we did these activities for a period of 4 years. So we were surprised because we didn't expect this kind of engagement for over such a long time. So we wonder why this project could be sustained over such a long time. And I am talking about a 60-student school, and in each shared activity participate between 7 and 12 parents, so more or less a third of all the parents in the school. And I think that to answer these questions, we have to look at macrostructures, or what in the school influences shared activities, and microstructures, what was going on in the shared activities. If we look how parents manage the workshops in the shared activity, we realized that they had more sensitivity to educational requirements that we had expected initially. So, for parents, for example, were concerned about the participation of all students. And they provide opportunities to interact, especially for kindergarten ones. Or, for example, they paid special attention when the primary students had to write the results of the observation and experimentation workshop on the worksheet. When I interviewed these parents, they literally said that they became hooked and felt that they had learned how to deal with the workshops while they participated in them. And I think that in conclusion, we can say that when we propose activities where parents can develop an active role, parents can do it. So I think that it's important to promote these kind of activities. Having said that, I think the answer to the question of why this engagement could be sustained for 4 years, it's more related with the vegetable garden itself. Because we realize that vegetable garden, in fact, is a meeting point of different communities, of different people from different communities, people from different worlds. And we thought that maybe we have found what is called a boundary object. Boundary object is a conceptual thing that was defined by Star and Grismer and is defined as those objects that both inhabited several intersecting worlds and satisfy the informational requirements of each of them. And they add that the creation of management of boundary objects is a key process in developing and maintaining coherence across intersecting social worlds. So they define 3 different features: plasticity, meaning, and structure. They are plastic enough to adapt to local needs, but robust enough to maintain a common identity across sites. And vegetable garden is plastic enough to adapt to different stakeholders' needs, parents, for example, and neighbors, wanted to promote local knowledge about agriculture, while teachers wanted to promote a better understanding of scientific and social content. They were more worried about curricula. About the structure, they are weakly structured in common use and become strongly structured in individual use. And vegetable garden can support different grades of involvement. For example, neighbors became assessors, teachers became managers and leaders of the food garden, and parents became educators, but also helpers to promote a better understanding about scientific and social content. And finally, the meaning. They have different meaning in different social worlds, but their structure is common enough to more than one world to make them recognizable. Vegetable garden purpose was not the same, it depends on the stakeholder. But while teachers and parents' purpose was education through vegetable garden, the purpose of neighbors was the production of vegetables. So sometimes we had to deal with this dilemma between education and production, and it was a little bit problematic in some cases. All the path that we did in this 4 years period was not problem-free. We had to deal with different tensions inherent of any learning environment. The first problems that we had to face were the physical structures, such as time and space. The first thing that you have to do in a vegetable garden is try to manage the physical space and how to work in a calendar. So the first decisions that teachers decided to do is organize a winter baseball just to fit with the school calendar. And once all these physical problems were solved, appeared the second generation of problems more related with the community, such as the division of labor within the teachers' team and the involvement of immigrant families. We had a lot of people from Morocco, and we had a lot of difficulties to involve the mothers in this project. So finally, we realized that maybe the food vegetable garden is not the best way to involve these people from different countries, but the cooking and cooking vegetables maybe is a better way to involve them. So, in conclusion, it is possible to work with different actors from the community on environmental or science education project, but we have to look for learning environments that all the participants will recognize. And vegetable garden is one of them. And probably the thing that allowed the vegetable garden to become a meeting point is that all of us share an agroecological experience, be it food production or food consumption. And I think that this is the key to glue all the community around this tool. Thank you very much. And if you want to comment something after the presentation, I will be available. Thank you.